All right, so let's talk about Medway High School's robotics program and this project proposal. Our objectives overall, we want to focus on students that want a technical pathway, but not necessarily the engineering courses we have, which are more academically rigorous. So we want to experience building and programming autonomous robots within a differentiated project-based learning environment. We're going to utilize Lego kits, Vex kits, and Arduino. So we're going to differentiate based on the equipment itself, and implementing a robotic virtual world software that'll let more people program and more people have access to programs simultaneously. We want to roll out an intro robotics course as well as an advanced robotics course eventually, and offer student robotics certifications through Carnegie Mellon University. So in terms of staffing, in this coming school year, 2019-2020, there are two semester courses for intro robotics being offered, one each semester. So it only takes 0.2 FTEs, full-time equivalents of a teacher. So right now there's no POE, no principles of engineering being offered. So that teacher is also going to end up teaching Intro to Engineering, Engineering Design, and 2 physics sections. In the next year, 2020 to 2021, again, I anticipate 2 intro courses and probably 1 advanced course that is coming from, with kids coming from that new intro course. Again, I think that advanced course can actually overlap into one of those intro sections. The number of students is likely to be small in that first year. So I think those courses can run simultaneously in the same classroom, since the structure will be the same, but the projects will be different. Those students can also serve as mentors to the intro kids as well. So again, we only need 0.2 FTEs. Now this year, POE is offered, Principles of Engineering. So that teacher will likely be teaching the 2 intro courses overlapped with the advanced, as well as Principles of Engineering, Civil Engineering and Architecture, and again, 2 physics sections. The third year, now we have students coming from the previous intro robotics courses into advanced, but we might also have Principles of Engineering students moving into the advanced course as well. There is 1 unit in Principles of Engineering that deals with robotics that is on par with the intro course. So that's another pathway to get to the advanced robotics course, is through Principles of Engineering for those students interested in that. So for 21-22, we're looking at 2 intro courses, 2 advanced courses, depending on the numbers that may not be able to be overlapped. So that might bump up to 0.4 FTEs, a part-time teacher. So if that's the same teacher that's teaching all 3 years, they have the intro course, the advanced course, engineering design, and 2 physics sections. And there's a lot of uncertainty here depending on, do we want to offer Intro to Engineering again? Do we have enough interest in Principles of Engineering to run it back-to-back in the same year? And if we do, does that bump physics down to only 1 section? And where does that section go? Can it be taken up by the other physics teachers in the district? So a lot of questions there to forecast depending on student interest level. Looking at the course progressions themselves, on the engineering pathway, the traditional pathway is to start with Intro to Engineering Design and then move to Principles of Engineering, Civil Engineering Architecture, and then Engineering Design and Development. But in recent years, really Civil Engineering and Architecture and Engineering Design Development have been alternating years, since there's not enough interest to fill out 2 full sections at the same time. But those are typically reserved for upperclassmen. Intro to Engineering Design and Principles of Engineering have started to alternate in as of this year, again, because of declining interest over the past couple of years. I anticipate that to improve in the next couple years. But the alternate pathway we're looking at is, if you don't want to go through the engineering pathway or don't want to commit a full year to that, you can start an Intro to Robotics, move to Advanced Robotics the following year. And then long-term, out of the scope of this current project, but we'd like to look at a Medway makerspace that would utilize the former wood shop as a pathway after Intro or Advanced Robotics, that course could actually lead you to Engineering Design Development as well, as a junior or senior capstone course. So looking at the budget, we have a lot of money invested already in robotics kits. There's 10 VEX kits that were bought for the Principles of Engineering class when that rolled out in fiscal year 2012. That was an initial investment of $16,000. More recently, in fiscal year 2016, in anticipation of starting this robotics program, 9 Lego Mindstorms kits were purchased, as well as 20 Arduino kits for $7,300. And in 2018, 6 more VEX kits were purchased for $5,100, likely because the advanced course was also running simultaneously to Principles of Engineering at that time. In the past 4 years, the robotics courses, the intro to robotics courses, had 4 different teachers. So that program has been stuttering and trying to get on its feet in this process. So looking forward, we want to plan for implementing the robotic virtual worlds for $600. Now that pays for a 30-seat license, but it's a perpetual license. So for 30 seats for $600, you have that license as long as you use the program. So that's not a yearly cost. I think that'll be worthwhile, as I think the course would be used for more than 2 years, because the yearly license for 30 seats is $300. So if you go beyond 2 years, you're now making your money back on that investment. VEX training is offered online through Carnegie Mellon University and is $200, and the student certifications is $10 per $40 per 10 seats, or $400. So I anticipate not necessarily requiring everyone in the Intro Robotics course to take that certification, but certainly offering it as to put on their resume that they are certified in Robotics 1 through Carnegie Mellon University. Now, the maintenance cost in this first year of implementation I anticipate to be higher. There have been anecdotal stories that in recent years the equipment was not taken care of as well, and there are more parts that are broken. But at this time, we don't know which parts are broken. So part of this project needs to be organizing and dealing with the equipment and assessing it as it is. So I anticipate higher maintenance costs in this first year of implementation to replace what is broken. So that's a $1,700 total investment for the first year. For the second year, fiscal year 21, now that this is when advanced robotics will be being implemented, that's taking advantage of the Arduino platform. So we're looking at Arduino training for the teacher involved. That's $600, and the student certifications for that. Now that we have intro to robotics and advanced robotics, I anticipate 20 seats total of offering for that. So it's $800 for the 20 seats. And maintenance costs lower likely this year at $250. So we're at a similar level at $1,650 for the second year. For the third year and onwards after that, really there's no initial cost to go into. Now it's just paying for the student certifications and for any ongoing maintenance for something around $1,000 a year after that. And that's assuming that the school takes on the full cost of the student certifications. We could look at other models and look for donations and support ongoing donations through local businesses and local universities and organizations that might fund that, or consider passing that cost on to the student, similar to AP tests and how those work now, seeing that as long as it is optional and not a required part of the course. So implementation problems that I see on the horizon. Right now, there's limited opportunity for electives in the actual schedule. During the freshman and sophomore years, because of all the required courses that they take, there's really only one slot left for an elective. So students really have to decide in those first 2 years, are you a band kid, an art kid, an engineering kid, a robotics kid, a criminal justice kid? So they really have to choose a pathway in that, and there's not a lot of opportunity for them to do that. Now, fixing that would require looking at the schedule as a whole, and that's a much larger conversation, but it is a limiting factor when it comes to getting kids interested in electives. Part of the implementation process is utilizing the Project Lead the Way Advisory Committee, and that was put in place years ago when we started doing Project Lead the Way engineering courses. which is a group of people from industry, so engineers working in industry, local businesses, university partners that come and advise the engineering program as a whole and make sure it's guiding toward industry standards and industry practices. Unfortunately, that has not met in the past 2 years through changes in leadership that have gone on in various places. So we need to establish some new business contacts and rekindle those relationships because it would be good to look at our STEM program more holistically and how this robotics program works with the engineering program, and that we're aligning with what industry is looking for in these areas. And also, right now, there's only one engineering and robotics teacher, so that gives that one person kind of limited opportunity for professional collaboration within the school. It's not a large school, it's about 800 students, so I don't anticipate that changing, and in fact, enrollment has been declining as of late. So because of that, because of the training this teacher has in these specific courses, they are likely to have 4 different preps, 4 different courses they're teaching at least for the foreseeable future. And I don't see that changing in the coming future. So that needs to take into consideration of how you spread the load among other physics teachers, perhaps, or among a part-time engineering teacher in the future if interest improves and more students are opting for these electives. In considering that, since a lot of this effort is being taken on by only one teacher, it'll be important to document the curriculum in order to make sure it's portable and lasts, and the program itself lasts beyond that one person, for anything to happen in the future. So as we implement, we're looking most importantly to create opportunities for students interested in technical hands-on projects, but not necessarily ready for the engineering pathway or not interested in the engineering pathway. So we want to create an alternative to that pathway and make sure that class has differentiated access to that curriculum, differentiation both through the equipment that they're using and the challenges that they're being faced with. So we also want to organize and manage the equipment more effectively. The phased implementation of this as the program rolls out can be flexible as the program grows, and we adjust to student interest and other electives as well. And the materials through the Carnegie Mellon University are free, and the activities are free. The video trainers are free. It's just the student certifications that do cost money, but that's an optional portion of the program. In the future, we can look at a robotics club, possibly for casual use or competition, outreach programs to the middle and elementary schools that may boost interest in the program, and also the Medway Makerspace course that I mentioned earlier that would revamp the wood shop and bring it into the modern era. We're allowing students to continue hands-on building experience through 3D modeling, CNC machines, laser cutters, alongside all of the traditional shop tools to think about that creation space and what do you do with that. They could design custom robotics components that are controlled by the Arduino in collaboration with the Advanced Robotics course or the Engineering Design course, which is high-level engineering design that requires creation of prototypes. And in that way, they could end up taking orders from taking on projects and taking orders from other courses in that way, or the community at large, or teachers within the school to put forth projects. And this, some things like a model could be set up where people pay for the materials themselves, and the students themselves create the labor, manage the projects and works. But again, this is probably another whole project in and of itself to rethink that. So that's our view of the next couple of years of the Medway robotics program. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.